was talking about, I said, come out and give a sense of calm. When you weren't there, I'm like, oh my God. Oh, but it matters. Appreciate it. Normally I take a drink in the middle of coming off of that coffee without water. I need to balance it out. But good morning, once again, keeping with our traditions, I would say, of coming before you every Wednesday to brief you with some key facts or information that I would like to share, and then turning it over to John to walk through any questions you may have of me, and we'll move through that. Now, as I always start with public safety, and I start with year-to-date stats, always using preliminary data from the New Orleans Police Department. On today, talking about through September the 9th, comparing 2023 to the year of 2022. Again, continuing to show steady progress. Absolutely aligned with national trends. The bottom line is we're seeing the results on the ground here in the city of New Orleans. Total crimes against persons remain down at 18%. Murders are down 24%. Armed robberies remain down at 30%. Non-fatal shooting incidents, 17% down. Non-fatal shooting victims are down 17%. Carjackings, again, continue to remain down at 44%. Comparing the weeks, getting into this, week of August 27th through September 2nd to September 3rd through the 9th, those particular weeks. Again, we saw fewer violent crimes, again, in the city of New Orleans, and with this past week, including no homicides and fewer non-fatal shooting and victims. So both shootings and victims trending in the right direction. There were also fewer property crimes, such as residential burglaries, as well as auto thefts. And this high number has been one that we have been just really steadily pounding downward. And while it's a reflection of being high, it is down and trending again in the right direction. Last week, September the 8th, marked again a significant milestone for the city of New Orleans, as the city had a week again with no homicides and no shootings. The last reported homicide was August the 31st, and so far this trend is just continuing. The last non-fatal shooting had been prior to that, September the 1st, and the last time happening was really 2 years ago, so during Ida. And so again, making progress. We're also wanting to see steady progress relative to the football season returning back in the city of New Orleans. Renewing our commitment in the spirit of partnership with our NFL team, the Saints, and of course that mirrored with our districts, 1st District, 6th District, as well as the 8th District within the New Orleans Police Department. We have our district investigative units and the district assisted response teams on site as well, utilizing every resource we have and ensuring that the deployment are aligned with, again, strategies on the ground, and we're seeing results. No reason to turn, we're keeping forward, and we'll pivot again as necessary. We're just seeing how we're utilizing all of these force multipliers and, of course, smart technology. This is all tied into our real-time crime center, one that continues to demonstrate that our investments are where they need to be within the RTCC. This is also why we spend additional resources, ARPA money, making sure that we're going deeper in those investments as it relates to technology, infrastructure, force multipliers, the New Orleans Police Department. Again, my administration just remains committed to making sure that the city of New Orleans continues to be that international model, being a city that hosts large-scale events, and you know what? We even do them when we're not expecting to do them. Like we took on major or national events at the 11th hour and pulled it off. We can thank Georgia and the like for that. Wanting to pivot now to the NOPD search. Now on Monday, you all know that I announced that after an extensive national search, one that was encouraged by the City Council, encouraged by residents, I would say, as I listened to them as they changed the home rule charter that will allow for a confirmation period and a process involving the New Orleans City Council, listening also to partners relative to the business community and the like. In doing so, move forward with that national search. As you know, engage the International Association of Chiefs of Police that led that for us. That was something that was touted and something that we all kind of celebrated, I would say, in regards to leadership of this city when I engaged IACP to lead that. After going through that process and also standing up an internal panel as well as an external panel, and at every level of the process, what we've found is that Ann Kirkpatrick, who I have put forth nominating to lead the New Orleans Police Department as our superintendent, was the top at every stage and every turn. As a result of that, she has agreed to take on the challenge, agreed to be our partner here on the ground, and we're very excited, not only for Ann, but excited for Chief Woodford, so that she will remain engaged, remain a part of course, the leadership of the New Orleans Police Department, but remain a real partner on the ground and with me as being mayor of this city. Both Chief Woodford as well as Kirkpatrick met with NOPD leadership. I was there myself with all of our executive rank, making sure that they saw us unified, and that's exactly not only what we demonstrated, but also what we shared directly with the leadership of the New Orleans Police Department. I told them I felt like, hidden figures, strong leadership and a great opportunity to focus on what's needed within our police department now, but absolutely focusing on the environment that we're in overall. Chief Woodford, along with Kirkpatrick, also attended a couple of roll calls. They attended roll call on Monday evening as well as on Tuesday morning yesterday. Again, I just wanted to extend my thanks to both Chief Woodford, also to Kirkpatrick, and especially for Woodford, again, demonstrating her true professionalism and commitment and dedication to the men and women of the New Orleans Police Department, but more importantly, to the residents and the visitors of this city. And again, as it relates to my selection relative to Kirkpatrick, listen, as the mayor of the city, I have to look at the whole. I have to look at the entire environment. And utilizing this process that was conducted by an international and really a national reach gave me, one, the comfort, to let the consultant do their job, but also bring forth candidates that I would be able to vet, interview, and move forward. I went through that process, and I went with the experience needed now. The experience that is needed now to combat and really move forward progress within the current environment that we're operating in. And an environment which has been toxic, it's been biased, it's been discriminatory, it's been damaging to people's soul, it has villainized key individuals, it has been privileged, it has been demoralizing, and I can go on and on and on. And so just like many departments within our city and our city employees have felt this, that also exists within the New Orleans Police Department. And where we are right now, pushing through challenges, one that is fully focusing on the consent decree. And the consent decree, if I were to say, and I am saying it, is the greatest impediment to the future of the New Orleans Police Department at this particular time. And with the progress that we've made, with the progress that we've demonstrated relative to this consent decree at this particular point and how it's playing out publicly and aligned with the toxic environment and all of the examples that I rattled off, I need leadership that is experienced, that without a doubt comes with working through at every level of government, and also including working with external stakeholders. That involves the media even. And so with Ann Kirkpatrick coming on as the superintendent of the New Orleans Police Department, I believe that we will be equipped with the greatest level of experience to push through this consent decree, alleviating the burdens and barriers that it currently has on my department and on our officers. But in addition to that, providing the leadership and experience necessary so that we can build the future leadership of the NOPD that goes beyond just the superintendent. And this is the time, and this is the opportunity that we have with Kirkpatrick coming to our city, working as a partner, and of course as a team with the various stakeholders, but always having the focus on the men and women of the New Orleans Police Department. City Council hearing. Now, what I'll have to say to this, and this was a hearing, I believe it was yesterday. So what is clear is that this council just continues to pour hundreds of thousands of dollars of taxpayers' money into investigations that continue to yield little to no results at all. And results for the people of this city and the people that we were elected to serve. Again, going back to this hostile environment. This is a part of it. And their constant hostile environment during these proceedings, even that we saw on yesterday, is not only inappropriate, it's damaging. And it's very dangerous. And it's dangerous because it impacts the hard-working men and women, city employees that we depend on day in and day out, that render and make the sacrifices necessary to lead and move this city forward. And in spite of the challenges, in spite of them being called names and liars and criminals and all of these different types of characteristics, they show up and they do the job and they do not waver. And even as it relates to, outstanding candidates relative to this NOPD search, calling them lightweights. When will it stop? Currently, Gregory Joseph being labeled incompetent, unbelievable, and a liar. Or even Jonathan Rhodes, again, labeled corrupt, a criminal. These are things that happen. Talked about corruption, backroom dealing, breaking the law. These are things that were said about hardworking city employees that show up. They went on to spend $700,000 to various firms politically connected to both council members Morrell and Moreno on an investigation again that yielded no findings at all. In fact, with the state ethics board even issued in July a report stating that, and I'm going to quote it, found no evidence of a violation of the code in this matter. And of course, I have to say, you all didn't report on it at all. You fuel it. And it's dangerous behavior. It has an impact on people that we all depend on. And in an environment even that we talk about in terms of trauma, we've lived through it. But not only have we lived through it, the men and women that we're talking about have led through it at every level. The same people that got us through all of the crises, some that we knew were coming, some that we did not know, the same people. But this is what we allow. And these actions are horrific, they're unjustifiable, and it makes it even harder to recruit. And not just police, but recruit men and women that we want to come be a part of this administration, a part of this city, to lead our city forward. You know, I think about people back in the day that say, like up here. See how high this is? I've had it up to here. And I've taken it personally. But when you really begin to attack the men and women that not only I depend on, but again that we all depend on, and who make the sacrifices and to show up, and this is how we treat our people. This is not New Orleans. This is not the New Orleans that I've been leading in as a community leader for over 20 years. This is not the New Orleans that I never wavered on in terms of that leadership. But when you begin to attack people and you are damaging people, and in a hostile environment that we say that we care about harassment, domestic violence, mental health, we should demonstrate the care when we talk about the men and women that we depend on every single day to move this city forward. It's gone too far. And when you begin to damage the souls of people. So I have 852 days left in this term. And it has always been my goal to focus on the issues at hand, to provide leadership, unwavering, in spite of the environment. And so, again, I'm going to support the men and women that show up every day, that lay it all on the line. And I'm going to demonstrate that by continuing to lay it up right on the line with them. On a lighter note, before I turn it over, this is just an alignment with what I always say, taking care of our people, meeting them where they are, city employees. We stood up $1.5 million of resources. One that was geared towards creating a first responders home ownership program. We had over 70 of our employees sign up and say, look, this speaks to me and I really want to learn more to see if I can take advantage of this opportunity that the city is making available. We have program guidelines. We're focusing on income limits. And we are also going to ensure that we have city-approved lenders that work with our people. So we're setting this up at every level to have this win be a big win for our city employees and ones that we care about and also that we want to retain. As I did my roll call meetings with NOPD and even as I meet with my public safety team as a team, my chiefs have always indicated, even our employees have indicated, that this is a program that really speaks to them and that they find that they can benefit from, again, in this environment. So we're committed to that. Before I turn it over, I did want to, we'll go. I'll turn it over because I'm thirsty.